Right, good morning, everybody. If you don't know me already, my name's Kelly Rembert. I'm the outreach librarian at the Southfield Library. Welcome to the November meeting of the Michigan PR group. In case you don't know, we are a group of folks that do marketing, whether it's our full-time job, our part-time job, or one of many, and we're all here just to help each other, sharing successes. If something didn't work, let us know so we don't repeat it across the state. So right now, I don't have any topics set for today. Does anybody have a question that they want to ask the group?
I have one, Kelly, if no one else does.
Go for it, Mary.
We're two things really. One is about LinkedIn, and if people are doing LinkedIn, which we are, but I struggle on what to post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I'd like some insider advice on that, what's working for people on LinkedIn. And then Reels. I tried to do Reels, but I think I had too much stuff on my phone and it wouldn't do it. Like I didn't have enough memory. So I failed, and I'm going to try again today. But anyway, those are my two things, LinkedIn and Reels, and just wonder what anybody had success with either one of those.
We're not doing either one of those, Mary. I'm sorry to not be any help to you.
I left.
Anybody?
All right, Cassie put in the chat that she doesn't use LinkedIn for the library, but for Reels that she cross-posts her TikToks
For TikTok,
and Reels
okay.
on Meta. So
Got it.
You must have also, Mary, did you just read the super marketing
Yes.
librarian about LinkedIn? I
Yes.
started setting up our library's LinkedIn yesterday as well.
Oh, okay, because ours has been up for a while, and I was so focused on it just being about people that I didn't post very often. And then when I got yesterday's Angela Hirsch's super library marketing email yesterday, I thought, oh brother, I need to step it up on LinkedIn. So I just wondered what other people have done that worked. So because when we post, like we got new library board members or new staff members, I've posted that on LinkedIn and had good success, but that doesn't happen that often. So, and then career stuff we can do, but that's just not enough. So that's kind of what I was wondering about.
What kind of stuff? I didn't read Angela's message yet. What kind of things was she recommending to put on there?
Yeah, let me tell you what she said. It was really pretty good. I mean, it made me think. I like it when stuff makes me think. She just said, well, that you should post that LinkedIn is, because the whole thing is really based on, should we still be on Twitter with all the crap that's going on with Twitter and Elon Musk and everything. And she built a case that LinkedIn has more global users than, LinkedIn has more users and more global users than Twitter. 36% of adults between the ages of 30 and 49 use LinkedIn. And then she used some examples of what other libraries are doing. So she's saying, post quality, try to get engagement. And one of the things that I never thought of with this is to share your link, shout out other people. Like, for example, one of the libraries posted a video of the construction of their, reconstruction of their library. And so they linked to the person who did the video, they link to the construction company, the architect. So that gives you more engagement. And I haven't done that. I didn't think about it. I think about it on other, on Facebook or Twitter, or whatever, where you're, including other companies or other people. And I didn't think about that with LinkedIn, and then also using hashtags. And anyway, so you can profile your staff, but you can also try to position your library as thought leaders. So if your staff members have expertise in key issues, you can talk about that. It just made me look a little more broadly at what you can do with LinkedIn beyond what I was originally thinking.
We have a sort of mixed, feeling among our staff about anything that looks like staff profiles or even staff pics, or, we've had some concern on occasion here of like inappropriate patron attention to staff. So we have that this would be sort of an interesting thing to float with that in mind, that, like I say, it's a broad, some of our staff feels like, yeah, let's get out there, and other people on our staff feel like, first name basis,
Right. Yeah, we have this similar, but it's in it's the minority. I would say we have maybe one or two staff members that have that concern. And LinkedIn, I mean, from my perspective, it's way more professional. It's not like Facebook or Instagram. And when I did posts of new board members or new staff members, we got some great engagement, from other people who know them. And it's, like I said, it's a little bit more, it's professional people. So it's not quite as the lunatics, like whatever that we all seem to have. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and those people, you just aren't going to, you wouldn't include them. And if someone objects, then you don't do it, obviously. Yeah.
I think a lot about who are we trying to talk to with all these different platforms.
Right.
And I think you can stretch yourself really thin. I'm thinking about trying to do what you're saying with LinkedIn. I've never thought about it in this way, and I haven't read the article you're referencing. And it's mostly, like you said, communicating to other professionals and communicating to the library world. Whereas almost everything else we do is communicating to our community. And I feel like most communities aren't jumping on LinkedIn to look at their local library. Or have you found that not to be the case? Do you have like just random community members who are looking for information there?
Really, it's been, we've just had a LinkedIn page, maybe not even a year. And I guess I look at it as a totally different market, but it's positioning the library a little differently. And you're right. I mean, if someone is living in Alaska, I mean, I don't care, because they're never going to be a library member. But a lot of community people are on LinkedIn. I mean, I know a lot of people who are on LinkedIn that are community members. So it's positioning the library in a different light and looking at it more from a business perspective. Like we're always trying to reach the business community from the library, for the business community to think of the library as a resource. We have so many great business resources that the businesses don't know about. So I have reached out like to our Chamber of Commerce and that sort of thing. And I'm thinking LinkedIn is another way to reach the professionals to think about like, for example, we now have New York Times subscriptions, which we never had. To me, that's much more of a business thing. I mean, obviously anybody can read the New York Times, but it's very business focused. So that is one thing that I'm going to promote on LinkedIn. It's, I'm just trying to think of it as a different way to position the library to a business community, I guess, what I'm thinking.
So we have used it for trying to find employees. We had a period of time where we were doing a ton of hiring because of high school students college students going back to school and retirees and that sort of thing. So we're struggling to get staff. And so we did a bunch of posts on LinkedIn for that and asked our staff to share it. But most of the people that follow us on LinkedIn are other libraries or other library staff. So I haven't really invested a lot of time in it because we don't really have the capacity right now to do
Right.
something extra. But
Did you have any luck with, getting people to apply for your jobs through LinkedIn at all?
I am curious how people heard about the post, but I didn't have anyone say LinkedIn, but
Okay.
it's possible.
It is hard to, when you're like, I'm a one-person department, and it is really hard to do everything. And I agree, you need to focus on what makes the most sense, for your area. So your dog is having fun there, Kelly.
I have two of them and I'm trying to
Oh.
hold one to keep the other off, to keep them from wrestling, but it's only being so successful. I have a puppy, so puppy energy. But Kirsten made a great, first off, in the chat, I did post the article that we were referencing from Super Library Marketing, so everyone can see it. And then Kirsten made a good point that you can, on LinkedIn, you can share if you do a blog. Those are great things to share on LinkedIn because
You're-
LinkedIn is.
You were frozen there for a while, Kelly.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. So I put the article from Super Library Marketing in the chat, and then Kirsten made a good point that if you do a library blog, to put that on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn lends itself to longer formats. And, that repurposing, as Kirsten put it, repurposing content is a game changer. Although there's not currently enough content to meet demand on LinkedIn, some posts have the potential to go a long way. So that's a good perspective and a way to, because none of us have the time to make, I know they always say do original content for every format, but who has the time to do that?
Right. Well, thanks, everybody. I really appreciate your input.
And is anybody else jumping off that? Is anybody else thinking of leaving Twitter because of what's been going on the past couple weeks there? I know it's not big. Southfield, we don't use it for much. So if we lose it, it's not a big deal to us.
Yeah, I'm afraid
If
we're
we
in the same
post.
boat in Plymouth. We don't post to it very often, and for that reason, it ends up being kind of like embarrassingly unattended to,
Mhm.
We post to our Twitter daily. We use later.com and we use that to post simultaneously to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, the same posts to all of them. Not everything goes to all three, but we do post to Twitter regularly. But we recently did a strategic planning community survey asking people where they got their information about the library, and 0 said Twitter. So if it continues going down the tubes, that would be the first thing. I would have no qualms about cutting it since nobody's using it to find out about us anyway.
well, it certainly feels like one of those opportunities to let your dollars do your talking about, some of the business practices that seem to be going on there, It's certainly something that I've got on our agenda to talk to our social media team about this month when we meet.
And I know if we have to pay the $8 a month, we would drop it like hotcakes. So
Yeah, I think it's not so much actual dollars as just staff
Yeah.
time and attention.
Mhm.
We're all just hurting for that. And if it's not worth that time and attention, that's, time that can be directed elsewhere. I've got a question for everybody.
Great.
I am curious what people use to track media coverage. Is anybody even bothering to track media coverage anymore? And what are you using to do that?
I just use a Google alert.
Okay.
I have Google Alert set up for Bloomfield Township and Bloomfield Township Public Library, and I feel like I catch most things.
There's not a whole lot of coverage going on about the Plymouth District Library, but, you know, and I've got a Google alert
Same.
set up, but you know, we've had a couple big blasts lately that I've been kind of surprised that they haven't been picked up more. And I thought, I wonder if I'm just missing things, you know, but
Yeah, I have all the different iterations in Google Alerts, Southfield Library, Southfield Public Library, just Southfield, so I can find out if there's other things in the community that I didn't know about.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're the same. The only other, when I worked in different industries, we used Meltwater to catch all of our PR, but it's expensive and I would never pay for that for the library.
Yeah,
But that's the only other, besides a Google alert. I'm
Yeah,
not really sure
okay.
what else you can do.
all right. I just thought I'd throw it out there since I
Yeah.
thought maybe somebody had some amazing thing I didn't know existed, you know, but
Who else has a question for the group? Something they've been pondering on their own and want to get more perspectives on?
well, I have another question if I'm not being a airwaves hog here.
Yeah, please
So the other
ask.
question I jotted down to bring to the group this month was, I'm sort of working through this issue of where amongst our different vehicles we should be talking about resources. I feel like our e-newsletter tends to be announcements and events, and our print newsletter is very event heavy. Social media, you know, we're really being encouraged to make it very much social, which leaves, you know, information about resources, which is one of our objectives on our strategic plan, to make more people aware of the things that they, you know, when we did a survey of our public and they said, we wish you had this, we wish you had this. And we were like, we do have that, you know, so I'm sure other libraries are facing that same issue, but I'm curious, which vehicles does that kind of information find its way to in your mix of tools?
We have some of that stuff in our new cardholder email campaign, and then our occasionals cardholder campaign and our inactive cardholder campaign. We use Orange Boy, Savannah, so it's like all automated, set that up, but that's where I put that stuff. Like, did you know your library offers this? I
Okay.
don't know that we have stuff that I mean, right now we really aren't sending information about our resources regularly on another platform, although I've wanted to do more like meme type of stuff, like funny stuff on social media, because it kind of adds value, but it also is like, it's enjoyable. People don't feel like they're being sold to. But most of ours right now are in those campaigns, are like regular promotion. But when I had posted stuff, what do you call it? Like the canned stuff that like Hoopla sends out, or the marketing materials that Overdrive provide, no one likes them. No one, I think ads, they just look right past it. So I was like, okay, well, if we do things that are like funny, things with our staff, like those tend to get more engagement, and we could bring those topics up that way. But I gave up on the canned Hoopla stuff and all that kind of thing.
Thanks, Chelsea.
At Brandon Library, we don't cross post on a lot of our social media because we found that interactions were really decreasing when we did that. So we save TikTok and Instagram for like kind of our funny, like behind the scenes staff type posts, like memes, like Chelsea just mentioned. And then since Facebook is seems to be our older patrons, we use that for like program promoting and e-resources and that sort of thing, more informational stuff. And then of course we include it in our print newsletter and our e-newsletter that goes out every week.
I'd say we try to include at least one resource, one in our e-newsletter each week. Like we just got hotspots, so we've been pushing those big because they haven't quite taken off yet. I know once the word gets out, they'll be gone, but we don't have it, they're starting to pick up steam, but so like that's the one we've been pushing. I've also put that up on our Google page. Google allows you to put up like a little mini ad. So I always put up a resource there. Because that one's not dated. I only change it out maybe 6 times a year or something. But I do find you look at it, it's like you get the alerts from Google. Yours got 100 views this month, so it's not a ton, but
Did you say that was the Google business posts, Kelly?
yeah.
Tell me more about that. How do I do that? Where do I find it?
Okay, so you know where you go, like where you can change like your library hours in Google.
Okay.
There's a way to put in, I'm gonna pull it up as I'm talking here, so. I still like their old-fashioned business profile, although they're trying to get rid of it. I gotta sign in with the correct account here. And once you have that, it's the business profile manager.
Hmm.
And then I'm trying to figure out exactly what they call it. Because I find it so much easier to do from their old, they're trying to have you do it up now from their search page, but. Oh, they changed it. They got rid of it. Just in the past week. Is it message? No, it's not messages. It's like you could add an event in, but that's not how I do it. Let me see if I can edit, if it's an edit profile. Nope. Where is it? Because now they've just changed it in this past week because I posted one up there last week and
I'm putting you on the spot, Kelly. Sorry.
oh no, it's good for me to know they changed it. So
If I'm in my Google account and you go to like the little Google apps and you're looking at all your Google apps, there is one just called business profile if you're logged into your Google account. So it'll be there right by like calendar and Gmail and
Mhm.
docs and all that sort of thing.
okay, so I found it. It's called Add Update, and it's at the very bottom of the list of services they offer. Here, I'm gonna see if I can screenshot this and share it. Actually, I'll just share head back here to Zoom and share my screen for a moment. Where do I? So I'm gonna share this screen. So they just changed it. You used to be able to come over here and click on this business profile. And now it's just taking you to this. But you can click here and add update. And then you can add an offer, add an event. I don't put our events up there just because they don't get enough views. But you can add up an update and add a description and say, see the libraries. Okay, that would be a bad one, but you could add an image to it. And, it's a good little way to just add up a little update that just I like this resources because it's not something I change very often. So I want it to be something static,
Okay.
but it's a good little thing to, somebody could stumble upon.
And then I'm sorry to be a dope, but like, where would they see that then? Where would that show up? Just when someone's Google searching for the library or?
So when you
Okay.
Google search it, like it comes up here, like
Okay. Okay.
I did put up a program, but it's a long program that we're having nobody sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the one up prior to that was about hotspots, and you can click on it. Oh, here I'm clicking on it. It allows me to edit it, but as a patron, and you can put a link in there, which is the nice thing. So like you can have them go directly to your hotspot page or whatever
Okay,
page of your
cool.
choosing.
Thanks for that.
And then we've got a question in the chat. For those of you that use Orange Boy or Savannah, Heather's library is looking into getting it, but they have a board member that's concerned with privacy. And has anyone run into that where any of your patrons are upset because it interacts with the ILS and privacy concerns? I mean, I know they do a great job of making sure we're still within library guidelines, but to help the board member and help Heather out.
We've had Orange Boy for about a year, almost 2 years now. And I'm not sure what the privacy concern is, that Orange Boy has access to all the records. Is that the concern? I'm not.
They can speak to that. Orange Boy will speak to that on your behalf. They have a thing, they have like a whole information page, I think, that they can send you about that you could share with your board.
We've had
Oh,
absolutely
yeah, I'm
no,
seeing Chelsea and
Okay.
Estefania said the same thing. Yeah, that to just reach out to Orange Boy and ask them for materials to support that discussion point.
yeah, we've had absolutely no concerns at all, nothing.
Well, Heather, I hope that'll help you and you can sell your board on Orange Boy. I hear great things about it.
Yeah, that should help. So having something documented, that says this is what it is.
Yeah, we have it too. We've never had a complaint from anyone. And honestly, our unsubscribe rate is super low. So I think it's kind of just people expect when you sign up with an organization, you get emails from them. It's just kind of standard at this point.
Well, and people want to hear from the library. I mean, they really do. They want to know what's going on, and it's not like we're selling them something. So
I think our board was concerned that we'd be able to see what people check out, because when you say, oh, it can say there are, you know, people who read teen books or people who print books, but we had to explain, like, you can't see titles or anything like that. It's like broad categories. But the privacy statement that I shared really helped. So I do have a question.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. We've been looking at our monthly newsletters and kind of looking at that again. We have had so many more programs than we did previously because, you know, COVID has started waning and we're adding more and more programs, that the newsletters were getting too long. So then we've been sending them out a little more frequently. And then we were like, okay, we can't title it monthly newsletter. And then I realized we're getting more clicks on things that don't have just a broad newsletter title. So I'm just curious, like, how frequently do you send your update, like just general newsletter? What do you do for subject lines? How much content do you put in those? Like, how many programs? Do you just highlight certain ones? Do you try to cover all of them? Good question.
So I actually just switched back. I had been switched during pandemic to doing a monthly newsletter. And it was getting to be, because we've added so many programs, but I actually just now, I'm in the editing process of going back to a quarterly newsletter. So that way, at least all the story times are together and I'm not repeating it. But I have found I'm not putting in long descriptions. I cut those out during pandemic and I'm keeping those cut out. Like, here's your title, here's your time and date, maybe a 1-sentence description, but like things like toddler story times, all I list is the age range. Like, you don't need a description to know the title says it all.
We just did that. So
We're having the same question right now, Chelsea, because we're seeing declining numbers on our e-newsletter, which goes out bi-monthly. But my hunch is that the reason we're seeing that decline is that we have a general e-news that goes bi-monthly, but then we also have the opportunity, people can, you know, opt into adult programming or teen programming or youth programming. And the folks on our team who do those more targeted emails have been doing more. So I think that we're doing this, you know, I think that people are getting a little bit overwhelmed because they're getting that bi-monthly, but now they're getting more and more that is in the target line that they, so I was just talking to our director the other day about whether we want to let those targeted ones sort of take over talking about programming and maybe, we're talking about maybe utilizing the e-news in a little bit different way, and maybe just doing like one feature program for each of those age ranges and use it more of, for newsy storytelling kind of opportunities. So that's something we're reviewing right now with the same kind of boat that you're in.
Thank you. Kristen just shared a copy of their newsletter to the chat. And she said they've gone from bi-monthly back to a monthly now because they're doing so many more.
We do a quarterly print newsletter and then a monthly email newsletter. And we really take advantage of the fact that the email newsletter is email and you can click on links. And so we might say like, we have this youth program, and this youth program. Click here for the full listing on our events calendar. So we're not trying to list everything in every e-newsletter. Same thing for adult programs. We do registration for a lot of our stuff. And so anything that's probably going to fill up anyways, we just don't include. And then we're starting to do more targeted emails to those specific Savannah customer types, but we're still really working on getting our footing there.
I will say that when we track how when people register for programming, email is the top way people heard about programs.
Yeah, our most effective communication tool is our e-newsletter. And we send just targeted weekly e-news. And then we do have a printed newsletter that goes out just 3 times a year, and we insert it in the local paper that's delivered, in home. So the e-news, since I've started doing it much more targeted, has been much more effective. And there's no way you can put everything in there, and you really just want to, I look at it as a way to kind of hook people. So to me, the subject line is really important, and think about the audience and what would get there. Like if I have a teen thing, I got to think about what was it. Of course, I'm not a teen, but I remember when I was a teen. So I really try to put a subject line that will be attractive to that target, the people that are hopefully opening the e-news. And my open rate has been so much better when I've had targeted. And I send it every week, and people, they're looking for it. I mean, they really want that information. And I try to just pick and choose, like I think Catherine said, or I'm not sure who said it, Chelsea maybe. You want to link, get them to come to the website, get people used to coming to the website to find information and drive them there. And you don't have to tell them everything in the e-news. You want to get their interest so they'll click and go to your website.
Yeah, I try to use good images in the e-newsletter and let
Mhm.
that be the enticement. I put,
Right.
no program.
No clip art, no clip art.
Yeah.
I know, like I sent out recently just an email that was just one news item. And so the subject line was different. It just had the news item. And that was one of the highest clicks. Like we had a 70% click rate, which is insane. And so I was like, oh, okay, I need to rethink subject lines because I think that's what made a difference. And I did find a website that supposedly like grades your subject line. And tells you how you're doing. Like they say, like how many action words they score you on that, or adding emojis bumps your score. I can link it. I don't know if it's good, but we were going to try it and see if that made any difference.
It's worth trying it. Thank you, Chelsea, for sharing that. I will say, I'll tell you a success we had this past month, and for those of you in Metro Detroit, you could probably try to get this gentleman. We had Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Billy Davis play at the library. He was a mentor to Jimi Hendrix and currently mentors a 14-year-old harmonica whiz. And he lives in Southfield and he's still performing. He's 84 years old, but we managed to get a great Metro Times article on him. We had 250 people come. We literally, we filled through to its capacity, which was overfilled at about 210, and we had 40 people sitting in the room next door just to listen to the music for free. So if anybody want, because it's such a unique angle, I don't know, can't guarantee you'll get the Metro Times article, but he's got a really cool story. He's looking to perform. So, and he's still a wonderful performer. He helped to co-wrote the twist. So I got to dance the twist to the guy that co-wrote it. So that was pretty cool.
We've had a social media success, but we definitely stole it from the Kent District Library. They do like a few things where they'll just ask people a question. So like we did one this last week that was,
if you could transport yourself to any or to the setting of the book you're reading, where would you be? And last week or the week before we did, if you could meet your favorite book character, who would you choose? And people have been really engaging, especially
we had
the
like
last one.
60 comments on the last one, and they just like keep commenting.
Yeah.
So that's been really positive. We were like, let's do one weekly. So we're going to try doing one every Friday, because Friday is when people are zoning out from work anyway. They don't want to work. So they're probably trying to do something silly on Facebook.
That is so cool. I've tried something like that and I get like maybe 2 comments.
We do ask staff to comment first to get it going. So we comment on our personal Facebooks. And I don't know if that helps, but
Yeah.
The last 2 years, that has been the whole like premise of our summer reading program, is like answering these prompts. And we had a really successful year this summer with posting on Facebook, and they're definitely like our highest commented posts we've ever had. So our community enjoys those too.
I think it's fun to chime in on things like that, and it's probably refreshing to have a question come from a safe source, because some of those questions that are like, Coke and Pepsi kind of questions out there on the internet, you're just like wondering if the person asking the question is trying to profile you so they can zero in on your passwords or what. So I think having a fun book related question come from a safe source is probably refreshing for people.
I should add too, the first year we did it, the Facebook interaction was pretty low. So this year we kind of enticed people to do it by drawing at the end of the week on Friday. Everybody who like commented on the silly prompt or question got put into a random drawing, and we drew one winner each week. And once people realized that was going on, we got more and more comments every week. So
did they win something?
Yes. Yeah. So I think we did like local gift cards to like local restaurants. And then we did a couple Amazon cards. I mean, not for much money, just small things.
That's a great idea. Enticements always do help. And Kristen wrote in the comments that she wants to recommend the website copy.ai to everyone, and it helps you to write social media captions, email subject lines, and blog posts for you. You just write in the key points and it generates the rest for you. I'll have to be checking that one out.
Creepy.
But is it creepy cool or creepy bad? Which of the creepies? Kristen says creepy amazing.
I found out KDL, we went to a little marketers meetup kind of for West Michigan libraries. I guess Cattle was there too, so maybe a little central, but they have an AI generator. So for a program, if they're having trouble coming up with something, they'll type in like the name of the program and just see what the AI comes up with. And there were some very interesting images, and that way you kind of have your own graphic designer. I have no idea how much it costs or how they got it, but it was very cool.
The very least, I'm sure it gets your brain turning, like, because we all get stuck in the little mindset. And I tend to be way too wordy still, even though I'm trying to break myself of that.
I have another question, Kelly.
Yeah.
I was wondering who besides myself, and I think Elaine there, we were at the Library Marketing and Communications Conference in Indianapolis week before last. And if anybody had the opportunity to go, and if you know, what takeaways did you have from that, or did you think it was worthwhile? I really enjoyed it, and I just wondered if anybody else had any feedback or ideas they'd like to share from that. Heather, you gave a thumbs
Yeah,
up.
I was there. I enjoyed it. It's my first time going to it. Katie Raleigh from Northville was there as well. She was volunteering with the conference, so I was able to connect with her. It was pretty cool to see the folks from Brooklyn Public Library talk about their digital library card for teens program and how that came to be, and that was really kind of rock star to hear them, hear that whole story, where that came from. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it. I've yet to crunch all my notes because, of course I got back and like now I'm digging out, but.
Well, when you do, crunch through those notes, please let us know what gems are in there. I know I'm jealous. I'm hoping maybe next year to go, so.
Yeah, I wonder, I'm not sure how long it'll stay in Indianapolis.
I think it's next year it's going to be there. I think they try to do it 2 years because they get a better rate at the hotel and then they move it.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe if you're thinking to try to go, it might be a good idea to lobby for it for next year, since it's reasonably close, because it was previously in Texas, and if it zooms off across the country again, it might become more prohibitive,
Yeah, Indiana's driving distance, and I have family in that town, so.
Yeah,
I drove. It was an easy drive.
I flew because I'm a chicken, so I flew.
It was a great conference. It really was.
Yeah,
I think you learn just as much from the people who attend, the other people in your doing your kind of work, as you do from the presenters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great networking, and
One thing that I find a little bit challenging about it is that a lot of the groups that are doing the presentations are big libraries or library systems who have deeper pockets and bigger resources. And so, some of the sessions that I went to, I found myself feeling a little bit like, well, yeah, that's great. But, you're there with your team of 8 who do social media or whatever, just, but I think there's still always little nuggets that you can, take away and get ideas from. And
yes, I was there specifically looking at a website redesign. So I went to a few of the topics about that. And you're right, they were really big libraries, but some of their concepts, when they break it down to the smaller chunks of how they approached it and who they talked to, I got a lot of different viewpoints. And then they were talking to them afterwards. There were other topics that came up, like, for instance, archiving social media posts for of Information Act requests. Does anybody else archive their social media posts?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, we do. The city of Southfield actually subscribes to a service that does it.
Mhm.
So we have to make, we get just the alerts, hey, if you changed a password or something. So we're lucky. I have no idea what it costs because the city does it, but yeah, we're covered under that.
It's expensive, I
Is it?
guess.
Okay.
And we had never heard of it at our library. So I wondered if you work at a government, like if you work under a government
Yeah.
entity that you have to do it. I don't know, but we're looking into it.
Randy has said they do too, and they do Archive Social, which is the same as we do. So once
Archive
we set that
Social.
up, I will say it's super easy. They do all the work, you ignore it. So unless you change a password. And even then they alert you like, wait a minute.
Yeah, they were switching to Archive Social, but I had never even heard of that before I went to the conference. And it was just talking to a presenter afterwards, and they were from Kenosha, and they were talking to another person they knew from Spokane and Wyoming. So it was just interesting to have all those people that do what you do all so close to you so that you could just chat and find out. Like I found out some tips for using TikTok to promote Makerspace. Simple, like just little simple things that you would have to get through trial and error on your own. And you can just skip the whole trial and error part and just like go into a more successful. And I just think I had never been to the conference before, and I didn't know if it was going to be helpful or not, because we're a little library too, but it really was.
I think there's some question out there, and I see Sharon raised it in the chat, which is kind of exactly what I was thinking, that I've raised this issue here at Plymouth, but was the response that I got from our director was something along the lines of social media archives itself. And we don't need to take additional steps to do that. We do need to make sure we're not deleting things, negative comments or that sort of thing, unless you expressly set that up in your social on the front end to, sort of like your policy or whatever, how you're going to use the site. But so I think the verdict is still a little gray about how much additional steps are required to do in terms of archiving social.
Yeah, the people I had talked to said there was a panel. I didn't go into this particular one, but there was a panel in Milwaukee. There were representatives from Milwaukee Public Library, and they thought it was optional. And the person behind them in the audience said it was a federal law. So I think it must be government like associated.
Interesting.
They were buying.
Where's Claire Mobilia when we need her?
Yeah.
They were buying a phone, a smartphone for the library so that people weren't using their personal phones anymore, because that information was coming from people's personal phones. And if they had to have something for evidence, then they would have had to confiscate their personal phone. And nobody really wants that to happen. So they were putting it in their budget for next year to buy a phone for the marketing department.
That would be, I kind of get it, but at the same time, I would only post about half as much then, because half the time it's just like, oh, I see this, I'm going to hop on my phone and post it right away. Or I share something, like Southfield happened to be in a Jeopardy question last week. And that was our biggest post of the week. We was sharing that. I saw it on Northville and shared theirs. So
yeah,
I would love to get a phone on the budget for next year.
I think they said in that session, Elaine, that they didn't have a phone service on it. They were just using it like without a phone plan, I think. Yeah.
That's what I've seen. I've heard of other libraries doing that. It's just almost like you use it like it's a camera or like an iPod. Like you don't have to get service. You buy it unlocked.
So it makes it more affordable or, more doable.
Yeah, like I was thinking about maybe getting like a Google Pixel, because they have a really nice camera. It's not as expensive as Apple products. We couldn't afford it this year, but I'm hoping we can budget for it next year.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I love that idea, because I have 45,000 things on my phone, and
Yeah.
I'm always running out of memory. And like I said, I tried to do a reel and it wouldn't let me because I didn't have any memory. It's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
So if we could, have a phone, and then I mean, use it as a camera, like you were saying, and posts, and not have a phone, whatever. It's not used as a phone.
And if you're
That
using it at the
would be-
library, we all have Wi-Fi, and phones could operate
Right.
off of Wi-Fi short of calling.
Right.
people.
And then you could let other people use it.
Mhm.
If like at another branch, they needed to, post something or take pictures of something, you could just have them use that phone. I really like that idea.
I do too. Thanks.
And I like the Google Pixel idea too. That's a great idea.
Yes.
Well, I didn't personally go to the conference, but I do want to give a shout out to one of the other Library of Michigan staff who did go there, Barb Williams. And what she was presenting on was, let me read it here a second. It's data visualization, and where that you can take the different data of anything and everything that you're collecting about what your library does and being able to make it into graphs and charts and other different things. For it can be anything for like presenting to your boards or using it for social media purposes. And because if there's one thing that Barb has a good background in, besides having worked in libraries for now like a decade, she's also has a graphic design background. And so I think if you're trying to find a bit more of a visually appealing way of showcasing information, you might want to touch base with her. And I'll put her contact info in the chat.
Now, Adam, do you think she'd be interested in representing it to this group?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yay.
I mean, that's part of her job.
Yeah.
And
we're a nice captive audience for her.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'll be in
That
touch
would be
with
great,
her.
Adam. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would be interested in that too.
And yeah, and thank you. Heather's got a good suggestion that in the future meeting, we talk about PR posting and using alt text on social media. I know I've just been asked to start looking into that as well. So that'd be a good one. And Adam, I know you do that at the Library of Michigan. You alt text everything, right? If I remember correctly.
I mean, we try to. I mean, our thing is that we're required to make things. Everything has to meet a certain accessibility standard.
Mhm.
So it's part of like everything that we have to do. But that was because of a federal court case that then got applied to the Department of Education. So yeah. Do I always remember to do it? Not. Yeah, there's times I forget. Sometimes I forget, but we certainly make a concerted effort to do that as much as possible.
Since we're talking about MLA, I wanted to, Adam, give a shout out to, well, your Library of Michigan, sorry. Forget it. I was just gonna say MLA. Oops.
I feel like I
MLA
just
did
got
a-
shot.
I'm sorry. I always get Library of Michigan and MLA mixed up, so please excuse me. Anyway, they did a post about our tool collection, and I just wanted to say thank you, but they're not here, so you just pretend you're MLA, Adam. How about that? Sorry.
Well, I will. One thing I did want to kind of ask about with the group, because we're finalizing the Michigan Notable Books list. We've got probably about 10 titles picked so far. And so the final list will be coming out in January like usual. But something that I wanted to make a more greater effort was to try and find or try to create more things that people can either download off of our website for promoting the program, or if they do get picked as a library that's going to be hosting an author. And I wanted to just ask the group, what are some things that might be worthwhile to have available? Like what I've got so far is a list of like having, different types of downloadable tabletop signage about the program, generic bookmarks that can be downloaded and printed, different social media graphics, either about the program itself or individual authors. Is there other things that people can think of that might be worthwhile to have?
Heather tossed in that discussion guides and key questions would be good. I'll toss in, I like the social media graphics that are easy to, like, that have all the book cover images, that it's easy to make hyperlinked to our own catalog.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like, you like that one, click on it and go right to our catalog, you know.
Okay.
And I always love looking at, I always add at least 2 to 3 books to my own personal to read list from the Michigan Notable Books. I love, that's like little surprise every January, like, oh, it came out.
Mhm.
So you at least have a fan of me.
Excellent.
Yeah, I like it. So it's easy to share on social, particularly so that we can quickly get the word out about it, because most people, you know, they're not aware. And I think that's one of our jobs, is to let people know.
Yeah, because I know one thing that we did in the past is, I think I still have it up on our page from this past year, is, share it in the chat a second, is this page that has different things that libraries could download and share. And if there was other things that people thought would be good to have on there. I know one other thing that we're going to do for the libraries that do get picked for hosting an author is having a more greater packet of information that has a lot of different details in there for promoting that author visit. But yeah, if there's other things that people think of that would be good to have right now, we're in that getting all of those graphics designed in preparation for when the list comes out in January.
And I would say, if possible, Adam, like on that page, if you can show like an image version of it too, not just the hyperlink. Because
Okay.
that would entice me to like, oh wait, now I see it.
Yeah. Well,
Instead of
the
just
one
the
thing that
list of
kind of
links.
stinks is the state of Michigan's web platform
Yeah.
is not the most versatile.
Okay. And you
Yes.
got to work within the parameters you got. I understand
Yes,
that.
I mean, it's nice that within the last year or so that we moved from a 15-year-old platform to our current Sitecore one. But yes, I agree. It would be nice having a bit more of a visual look to it.
And Heather has tossed in, changing topics here, some ideas of, you know, check out the cool, if you like this song or this movie, check out this book. Or if you liked this chai latte, pick this new book. If you like espresso, choose this. So those are some fun little things we can all play off of. And I'm going to post in our chat questions about the alt text, because I admit I don't know too much about it, although I'm trying to learn. So maybe there is somebody out in our group that knows more and can, you know, give us a little tutorial in a future meeting. But with that, we are up at, our time is up. We're going to skip our December meeting just because it gets close to the holidays and we all have enough going on in December. So we're going to pick back up in January. Let me pull up the calendar because I should have been prepared. But looks like January the 16th. January the 17th, the day after MLK Day. So we'll be back then up on Zoom, the same link. So I hope to see everybody then. Anybody have any last words they want to share before we sign off or anything?
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I love that
Thank
we had a
you.
great topic today, great discussion today. I always love how it just goes back and forth and we all get our questions in and learn from each other.
Thanks, Kelly. It was great. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy
Happy
holidays.
Thanksgiving.
Happy
Thank
everything,
you.
whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right.